Okay, everybody, it's me, the Gregory Mannarino. It is Sunday, October 10th, 2021, and this is my newest segment of Markets, a Look Ahead. So let's do that. But before we can look ahead, people, we got to look back. You always got to do that. So let's get busy here. This market seems to be freaking invincible. It's the truth. Nothing affects it. We are almost really at new record highs with the market. And I have no doubt, despite the fact that we're hearing all of these calls from a couple of people out here with some big names, that this market's going to crash this month. I think those chances are very, very low. You know that. You know my take on this. No one can point to a specific time, a specific date, or a specific reason. It's just the market now it's a freak show. You all know that. And it has no bearing on reality. There's no price discovery mechanism behind it. When you have a central bank essentially buying it all, nothing makes sense. It's a managed market. The Fed has chosen to take the largest aspect of the market, the debt market, and continue to rig it beyond, and I mean beyond, the highest order. And that's the driver. It's fact. And I think you all know that now. For a moment, let's take in Greg Mannarino's indicator, the MMRI. This is a measure of risk in the market, okay, by taking into account what is occurring in the debt market. It's brilliant in my view, really. Now, there is a link to the MMRI again in the description of this video. It is showing us, people, that risk in the market is increasing. It is increasing. We are still in the green, but we're at the high end of the green. If you want to have a look at it, like I said, link in the description of this video. So what does that mean? Doesn't mean we're going to sell all our positions. We're going to close everything. We're going to dump our stocks. No, we must keep our eyes on a lot of moving parts. And that's what I try to do here with these video blogs. You all know that. In my opinion, even with the MMRI rising here, the game remains risk on. Why? Easy money is going to keep pouring into this market with no possible end in sight. People, we just got the worst jobs report I think we could possibly have gotten last week. It was epic. Absolutely epic. And, what is that going to do? Like I've explained to you, that's going to cause the Fed to move goalposts. The Fed doesn't want to taper. The Fed wants to continue to buy assets with their product that they create out of thin air, out of nothing. Imagine having that power. Imagine if you could do that, if you had a printing press in your own house, and you could just print all the dollars you want or add digits to a screen, whatever you want to do. That's what they do. So the Fed has the power to create currency out of nothing in any amount and buy whatever they want. Anything they want. There is no regulation here whatsoever. They can buy any asset of any kind, all right? And they're going to continue to rig the markets to the highest possible order. We know this. People, the Federal Reserve literally, and I say this all the time, they're the enemy. They're public enemy number one. You want proof? Look around you. Look at this environment of surging inflation. I mean, it's getting all kinds of airplay, even on the mainstream media. It's not going to stop. The Fed is deliberately doing this. They're creating inflation by design. That's what they're doing by issuing debt through one door, buying it back through another door. This is a repetitive thing, and it's not stopping. And I explained to you, even if the Fed were to taper, a token taper, it won't make any difference. The floodgates of inflation have been opened. There is trillions, multiple trillions of dollars floating around the world here that is now beginning to chase the same amount of goods. Now we're starting to see inflation. The Fed can't stop it, nor do they want to stop it. This is what they've been trying to achieve. Be the lender and buyer of last resort, people. If that means they have to shut down the entire economy by any mechanism, by a scamdemic, whatever it is, they're going to do it to fulfill their end game. Their goal, people, is to be the government. They are the government here. And like I said, do you find it interesting how we were hearing all of this talk about insider trading at the Federal Reserve, the Fed chair himself, the vice chair, at least 2 Fed presidents? It was all over the mainstream media. Now all of a sudden, gone, silent. They want people to forget about it because people have a very short memory. And if it's not shoved down their throat every single day, they forget about it. So this just goes to show you how the mainstream media is rigged, again, also to the highest order too. These people there, they are worthless. They are reading a script. That's it. Anyway, let's go back to this market. So like I said, we are, like 3 or 4% away from new record highs with regard to this market, and we're going to get there. This week here, we're going to hear from some major banks with earnings. Now, that's going to affect the market. There's no doubt about it. Now, what else do we know? Americans are broke. Citizens are borrowing beyond their eyeballs just to make ends meet. So this could be positive for bank earnings, believe it or not. So it's going to be interesting to see how that plays out. Now, there's another element here. Crude oil. Crude oil, the lifeblood of this market, the lifeblood of the military-industrial complex, the lifeblood of the new world order. Okay? We've seen quite an epic run higher with crude oil. If this run continues, it's going to pull the market higher. However, there's always a little caveat here, okay? This run up in crude has been pretty extreme, if you ask me. And if we get a pullback here, which I think would be bullish, believe it or not, I think you all know that, that will affect the market as well. So we need to see this week what's going to happen. We have earnings here from the banks. We got crude oil, which really could use a pullback. I'm not even saying we're going to get it. There's some kind of FOMO going on here with crude, and institutions are buying this stuff like you can't even believe. They're, the investment banks are leveraged like you can't even believe yet again in crude. They understand this. It's a mechanism here, people, that we've seen over and over again. It makes me insane. When crude oil is high priced like it is right now, you just miraculously don't even hear about a terrorist attack, a bombing, a refinery fire, a pipeline disruption. It just doesn't happen. As soon as crude goes down, terrorist attack, refinery fire, missile attack, supply chain disruption, it's amazing. So keep your eyes on these things, all right? It's rigged. All of it is. It's just absolutely outrageous. But again, you know the mechanism here, period, the end. Cryptocurrencies, people, have had quite a run higher here. And I do believe within a relatively short period of time, we will be hitting new record highs with regard to cryptocurrencies. Now, precious metals. Precious metals have been under pressure lately. I think we all understand that. We know the game. It's risk on. Risk on. Despite the fact that the MMRI is saying there's increased risk in the stock market, and we need to keep our eyes on this, okay? Once we get over 100, okay, we're going to rethink some of this. But right now, I still think we're okay, and we need to stay in the market, period, the end. You want to own large cap stocks that pay dividends. Let these companies pay you to own the stock. You understand? If you're a trader in this market, you got that covered too. I have you covered. I have all of my stock picks on my website. And if you're one of my lions, you know how to play these things. I do not, and I repeat, do not recommend just buying a call. It's very, very simple to do that, but it's also extremely risky. You need to be playing this differently and smartly. You should be selling options onto the market. You should be setting up credit spreads. Granted, there's a lot less risk doing this, so there's a lot less reward. But in the longer run, people, I think it's a smarter way to play the market. Okay, you need to keep yourself hedged, as I always tell you. You need to be in other assets. You should have gold and silver in your portfolio. Absolutely. Take advantage of what's going on here with precious metals, the rigging in it, and we know who's doing it. I'm going to say it again. It's JP Morgan. Does this concern you? Does it piss you off? Right to the commodities exchange. See if you can make a dent. Maybe if we can get more people to do it. I mean, how many times has this institution been caught rigging pretty much every aspect of this market over and over and over again? And meanwhile, they're allowed to function with impunity. They can do anything they want to. They're too strong. They're too powerful. It's incredible. But again, it's part of the rigged game, all of this whole twisted situation. Anyway, that's where we stand here, people. We have a stock market which is very close to hitting new record highs. Of course, we have a couple of people out here calling for a market crash this month. No one's smart enough to point to a time or a date. A meltdown in this market is going to come without warning at one time. And I still think it's way off because the Fed is not done. They're going to continue to buy assets. We are going to see a second wave of inflation, people, much larger than the first. You're going to hear more cries from our so-called representatives about doing something about it, but they will do nothing. Zero, because they are not the real government. They do not represent the people anymore. They represent the Federal Reserve. They are the government, the Fed. We are really in an environment where we have no representation at all. It's been stripped from us, people. I'm telling you that our forefathers, they must literally be spinning in their graves what we've allowed to happen. It's so sick. It really, really is. But look, you and I, we got it covered. All right, at least from a financial standpoint, and even from a humankind standpoint. I always tell you, love each other, care about each other, be charitable. This is how we change the world, and we take care of ourselves. We take care of other people as well, because we are all responsible for each other. All right, people, look, I covered a lot of things here in this video blog. I hope it makes sense to you. I'm going to ask you to please share this, get it out there. Let's see how this week plays out. As usual, I will keep you on top of it. You know that. Got your back 100%. And I will see you in the morning. I'm looking forward to that. Okay.